Welcome back then folks to day 3 of Special Projects Pack number 19, and for this particular build we are dipping back into the world of RGT rally cars, which of course is stuff like your Porsche 911s, Alpines, that kind of stuff, and as far as I could tell there doesn't seem to be an actual RGT or even really any rally version of an A90 Supra. But to me, it kind of suits it. It looks like the kind of car that would have that sort of vibe going for it. I couldn't really find any liveries which I liked in a rally sense. They were all kind of obvious, like Red Bull or Castrol. So I decided to make the livery myself on this occasion, and for inspiration, as you can probably kind of tell, I was sort of taking a page out of the Tsurumo Supra book, the silver and orange version from Super GT Racing. So of course you can grab the livery via the link below, as usual. As far as the build itself, we are using the regulations for actual RGT cars, which is, if I recall correctly, I think it's 3.4 kilograms per horsepower, or Verstärke, as it says there in the bottom right of the screen. So that's what we're working to. And I opted to go for lower weight and lower power rather than higher weight and higher power. And of course you've got the option of both. Dirt Rally 2.0 is a prime example. You've got stuff like the Aston in there, but then you've also got stuff like the Camaro and the Mustang, which we've also done. So they have way more power, but they're also far bigger and far heavier at the same time. So this is more on the Porsche or Alpine end of the spectrum. As far as the actual build, we've got the Stage 1 weight. I'll just jump to the Ultimate section because, yeah, I had a hunch, and it was. The Stage 5 weight is what I'm working with. So for that one, just go all the way up to there, of course, and it cancels out the other ones anyway. Sports hard tyres are already fitted, so you don't need to worry about that. For Club Sports, the Stage 2, of course, is already covered as well. Power restrictor and ballast. Of course, dirt tyres or snow tyres, depending on where you plan to take it. For the semi-racing stuff, we've got the fully customised diff, the semi-racing clutch and flywheel. I've gone for the fully customised manual box because, again, helps with the point level, plus feels a bit more raw for a rally car. If you wanted to get through the gears a bit quicker, though, you could go for the sequential style in the racing section. Of course, Stage 3 weight, as I said, is already taken care of. I have gone for the anti-lag, feels kind of appropriate for a rally car. We've got the racing pads and discs, of course. Suspension, Stage 4 weight, yet again, is taken care of. And for the extreme stuff, as you would usually expect from me with a rally car, steering angle and hydraulic handbrake is fitted as well. Now for the Ultimate section, really nothing there. So in other words, you don't really have to touch the horsepower. And as you can see from the year at the top, I've based this in particular on the 2019 Supra. So be sure on that one, otherwise if you do it on the newer one, I mean, in theory you could probably do basically the same thing, but I would imagine the point level or the weight or something might be slightly different, so bear that in mind. The reason why I decided to use this older one is because we recently used the newer Supra with the LFA swap to do that signature project in the last pack, so I thought let's change it up a bit, go for the slightly older Supra to give it some love as well. So as far as the build, 335 horses, which actually sounds kind of right. I think that might be similar, if I recall correctly, to what the Alpine had anyway. 1160 kilos, which is pretty good to be working with. You can see I'm running a 50-50 weight split. We'll definitely talk about that more in a second because it makes a big difference on this car. And 565 points, which is probably about what you'd expect for a rally car like this. So, dirt tyres of course are on there. For the suspension, 125mm, 5 on the anti-roll, 25 and 35 for the dampers, 3.15 for the springs, a little bit of camber, nothing too crazy, 1 degree front and back, no toe on the front, and then towed in 0.10 on the rear. 10, 30 and 20 on the diff, so again, nothing too crazy, and of course you could change all of these if you want to get a bit experimental, and if you want to come back to this and use it as a baseline, that's obviously the advantage of the video. Relatively close ratio box, 260 kilometers an hour on the auto setting. As far as the ballast, you want 36 kilos to bring us up to 1160, and here is a crucial part of the build. At least with the current physics of the game, this makes a massive difference to how the car handles and how it gets through corners, putting that 30% toward the rear, to the point where even if you change that to like 20% or 25%, it's a wildly different experience. This car is very responsive to where you put that ballast, in a very similar way actually to how the Camaro rally car was as well. There are certain cars which are very, very twitchy when it comes to where they want that weight to be or not to be. In the case of this one, if you put it more toward the front, it becomes much more prone to overcooking it in a corner and just spinning out, basically. Whereas if you put it there, just a little bit more of a rear 50-50 bias, almost like a 51 rear, really, then that feels just right for the car. That slightly looser but still planted front end. It's very happy, I would say, at that point. Front downforce is non-adjusted. I've gone for a fairly minimal aero package, and as you can see, it doesn't have a body kit either, because that just wouldn't really fit in with the RGT style. For the rear downforce, Since it's only got 20 on the front, I've lowered that down to 90. Again, you could change that if you want to, and of course that'll make a difference to your handling as well. I've got the anti-roll set on strong, because why not? May as well use it if you've got it. And over here, of course, you already saw all the other stuff which we fitted, which in the case of this one wasn't really all that much. So all that remains, of course, is to actually jump out to the dirt, as we always do with these, and show you what it can do in comparison to not only other rally builds, but also more specifically the RGT builds, which I've done. Now there are 2 points which I need to mention about this particular car. Number one, I usually say be sure to use a manual box with these, but I don't know if it's maybe because you've got the closer ratios with more gears to work with, but you don't really need the manual box. With this car, you end up bouncing around on the red line so much that you kind of don't need it. It gets through the gears quickly enough in auto mode that you can kind of just leave it in auto, and it's about as quick. You could use the manual if you want to, but it doesn't feel necessary. The second thing is something which I'd love to know your thoughts on. Is this just me? Because I don't think it can be. It feels to me like a lot of cars have gotten slower in a rallying sense, because the kind of laps that I used to be doing with many of these builds, including the Porsche, which of course comparing anything to a 911 on or off-road is usually a losing game, but even so, most if not all of the RGT builds that I've done have been way slower, more often than not, if I recall correctly, than that original Porsche. You can see from the video, the car isn't wasting time through corners. It's not like overcooking it or spinning out or bouncing off of walls. It's not a slow car, and it's not a slow line even that I'm taking, and regardless of using the auto box, I tried it in manual and it didn't make a huge difference. So obviously the Porsche does have a power advantage, so maybe that is making the difference, but I would have thought that if anything could keep up with something like an Alpine or a 911, it would be a Supra, you would think. So is it just me, or have you noticed maybe some of your cars have gotten slower over time? I'm really curious, because it seems to be the one glaring part of the game for me which has felt like it's gotten notably slower over time. That's it for the build though. It's still a lot of fun, and if everything has gotten slower, I guess that could mean that this isn't slow because everything is slower, so maybe it's still about on par. I haven't double checked the lap times recently. That's it for this build. Of course, stick around for the rest over the coming week, and I'll see you then with more, but for now, thanks for watching.